H-E-L-L-O, LeGrand Alive. It's your weekly Newsish Roundup. I'm Will Bowman.
And I'm ALEX.
Make at it! And we are here today to bring you the news for the upcoming week. So Alex, what are our 3 stories for the day?
Beer Festival. You like beer? You can't get it any better than the Eastern Oregon Beer Festival, which is coming up soon.
Yes, it is. Beer Festival.
Ham Radio Field Day. Ham radio field operators from all around the world are going to be setting up their ham radios, and several of them are going to be setting them up here in the Grand pretty soon for the annual Ham Radio Field Day.
And we're not talking about the pigs, LeGrand Alive.
Is somebody coming for your guns? Learn more about it at the end of this segment.
County commissioners meet to discuss some upcoming gun legislation. Only on your weekly Newsish Roundup, brought to you by our sponsors. Our first story of the evening, the annual Beer Fest is coming to LeGrand. The 5th annual Beer Fest will be held at the Union County Fairgrounds coming up here pretty soon. Every year LeGrand hosts the annual Beer Fest. They have beers on tap, music and camaraderie and friends all over the course of a single day here in LeGrand. Now I got a chance to talk to Susanna, who is one of the coordinators for the event this week, and she has some really exciting new elements that are going to be coming up.
What's new at the Beer Festival this year is it's our 5th year. We are super excited. We're bringing in more breweries than we've ever had, and I think that we've said that every year, so we're really trying to just continue growing it year after year. And music, we're partnering with Art Center East, and they're going to be on site doing some activities. Blue Mountain Outfitters is sponsoring an outdoor game area, and so we're just trying to bring a lot of fun, dynamic interaction to the festival.
Now, Alex, when you think of beer, what do you think of? What things come to your brain when you think of beer?
When I think of beer, Germany.
Oregon.
Germany first for some reason, probably because I didn't grow up in Oregon.
This is probably true. Now, I think a lot of people, when they think of beer, they think of, people getting wasted, people getting drunk, big parties, waking up the next day feeling like crap. But I talked to Susanna, and actually, according to her, that's not what tap beer is all about.
I think when you talk about the difference between drinking craft beer and drinking to drink, it's totally different. There's going to be the appreciation for it. There's going to be that, let's sit around and actually see what it is about this beer that I like. It's not just let's go as fast as possible. And so it's one of those things that sometimes it's about the camaraderie, sometimes it's about just sitting on your own and just experiencing each step of the flavor profile as you are tasting. And I would say sometimes it's about not feeling horrible the next day. I really think my favorite beers are actually more like favorite memories. So I can think, I was on a road trip with this person and we went to this festival, or I had a barbecue at my house and someone brought this bottle, and it's those little things, those defining moments that have made me think of beer in the almost terms of favorites like that.
So Alex, tell us, when and where is this event going to be happening?
Saturday, June 30th. You won't want to miss it at the Grand Fairgrounds. General admission prices are $25 pre-sale or $30 at the gate. VIP passes are $50 a piece and are only available online.
Yep, so be sure to go on over, taste a few tap beers, and enjoy the food, the fun, and the music. This story was brought to you by our second story of the evening, the Grand Ron Amateur Ham Radio Operators Club is having a field day this Saturday for people to connect with the rest of the world through ham radio. Ham radio, that is H-A-M radio, was used during the World Wars to connect with the military to each other. Since it has kind of gone out of being the new way of communication, but there are still over 2 million ham radio operators all across the world, 800,000 of which live in the United States. And every year, they get together to do a sort of practice day. Now, the interesting thing about ham radio, Alex, and LeGrand Live, is that ham radio is still kept on essentially the non-paid payroll by the US government, just in case all other forms of communication were to fail in the event of some sort of nationwide or even local catastrophe. So the ham operators every year get together to practice. Now, the event is a competition. They have 24 hours to connect with as many people from around the world as they can, and they have to take good notes because ultimately they are judged by the accuracy and correctness of the information that they gather from people all across the globe. Now, the point system, like I said, the point system is based on the accuracy and breadth of the connectivity, and I got a chance to talk to Tyson Brooks this week, Tyson is one of the coordinators for the Grand Ronde Ham Radio Amateur Club, and he said that really the event is a practice in message handling. It's also a great opportunity for operators to talk with people they've never talked to before all over the world. So, Alex, tell us, what are the specifics about this event?
Well, this event is open to the public. It's going to be at Bird Track Springs, Saturday, June 23rd at 8 a.m. to June 24th at 11 a.m.
So it's a full day. And the other thing is the event is open to the public. You will be able to talk to people. Tyson said that they will be able to connect you with people via the ham radio. And I believe they have some radios for sale at the event if that is something that you are interested in. So this story was brought to you by Our final story of the evening. The Union County Commissioners met last week to talk about two new measures coming out of Salem that may have some questionable language in regards to talking about gun legislation. So now, Alex, tell us a little bit about what are these measures, what are they talking about, and how do they pertain to Eastern Oregon?
Right, so there are two weapons relating to firearms. Sorry, there are two weapons. No.
There's a lot of
more than
weapons
two weapons, and this is about one specific type of weapon, assault-style rifles. IP-43 and IP-44 are both primarily driven by petitioners on the west side. They're gathering petitions to get on the ballot. IP-43 is a ban on the sale of assault weapons as well as the transfer or creation or possession of them in the state of Oregon. Now, once this ban, if it goes into effect, that assumes that it gets enough signatures and it passes in November. If it goes into effect, after 120 days, you will either have to register your firearms with the Oregon State Police, the assault weapons that you may own. You have to register those with the Oregon State Police, or get rid of them or destroy them. And then if you don't comply with the registration mandate, there is a chance that they could be taken away from you.
So the important thing to note there is that according to the law, your weapons will not be seized if they are reported or destroyed. Current weapons that are already being owned that fall under the classification of assault weapons, correct?
Yes.
Correct, yeah. So I got a chance to talk. Now, the county commissioners for Union County had a work session this last week because from what I understand, there is being some kickback to these measures here in Eastern Oregon.
Yes, there is quite a bit of kickback. Throughout the last couple of years, there have been several attempts to change firearms laws in the states that have a lot of local activist concerns, especially in rural areas. So a number of counties have passed what's called a Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance, which basically says that if the county has a legal interpretation that says enforcing a certain law or state mandate related to firearms would be unconstitutional, then the county says they will refuse to enforce them. Now, it doesn't mean the state presence in a county can stop, but it would be the difference between the county sheriff coming to your door and saying, hand over your unregistered firearm versus the Oregon State Police doing it. A Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance would affect the county sheriff, not OSP.
So last week, the Union County Commissioners all met to talk about these, to talk about the possibility of instituting a, what was it you called it again?
Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance. Second
Amendment Preservation Ordinance. And there were many concerns that were brought up at this particular event, including they had, Donna Beveridge said that they had a 3-page list of people who had guns that they were very worried about being taken by the government. Guns including antique firearms that they had owned for many, many years, that had been sitting on their mantle, that were still functional but were not in use, and other such items. Now, the important thing to note, as we talked about earlier, is that guns that fall under the assault rifle or assault weapon classification that you already own would not be seized unless they were not reported. They do have to be reported if these measures pass. They would not be seized unless they were not reported. Is that correct, Alex?
That's correct. The stipulation that I make sure people know is that if you don't report your assault weapons within the 120 days, you're not automatically going to have somebody at your door busting it down to get your assault weapons. There has to be proof that you have an assault weapon before the police can come to your house. So
they have to follow due process, essentially.
yeah, there will still be due process.
Now, all this being said, there's no guarantee that these ballots will be on the voting ballot. There's no guarantee of that. Actually, we don't know until July 9th whether or not these measures, which measures were they again?
IP43 and IP44 have until July 6th to get 88,000 signatures each.
88,000 signatures each. If on July 6th they get that, then they will be on the ballot. And then on July 18th, Donna Beveridge said, the county commissioners will vote on whether to institute one more time?
Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance.
Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance, if it's even necessary. There's no guarantee that it will be necessary. So, LeGrand Alive will have more on this story as it develops, and we will continue to keep you in the loop. This story was brought to you by That's it, LeGrand Alive. That's your weekly Newsish Roundup, brought to you by these, our sponsors. I'm Will Bowman, and
I'm not coming for your guns.
but I am. Just kidding, LeGrand Alive. I don't have any desire to take your guns. Please like and share the video, and tune into legrandalive.tv for more local content.